gentlemen, welcome to the Overseas Famous Podcast, Season 5, Episode 4. We have Jevon Smith on today. The whole purpose of this segment of this interview this week is really to kind of focus in on the scammers. We're trying to put you into the mindset of an athlete who doesn't have an agent, comes out of college without an agent, doesn't have, the huge resume, and how do they make it in overseas basketball. Now, the crazy thing is there's so many fucking scammers out there that are focusing, and there's just a lot of, I don't know, it's to me, it's a lot of overseas basketball is easy. Everyone can do it. So it's like, hey, you're good. And if you're a good basketball player in the United States, you can definitely play overseas. Like, it's like this like mindset, like you can definitely make it there. And it's not the truth. So because of that, because it's very difficult to get into and it's very difficult to continue maintaining. And there's been NBA, there's been guys who went small school, grinded it out and ended up making the NBA and being a very good player in the NBA. The other thing is there's a lot of players that think that they can make it, and they're like, all right, I'm going to chase this, I'm going to do this, and then you have these scammers coming out of the woodwork, like, yeah, let's suck this guy's energy, and they just start scamming, and it's like, okay, pay me this much, and I'll find you a job. Pay me this much, and come to this tryout. Pay me this much and I'll fly you out to this country and you can work out in front of the team. Pay me this much. And all they're doing is just collecting checks and not fulfilling their duty. And it's this whole, the whole world is full of fucking scammers. Try to sell something on Facebook Marketplace, and it's like someone's like, hey, give me your phone number. I'm like, fuck that, dude. Like, I'm not giving you my phone number. Like, no, I'm not giving you my phone number so I can sell a fucking rug. Like, no, you can't have my phone number. And then they're like, but I need your phone number. So I did it unwillingly. And they're like, okay, I set a verification. What's the numbers? And I was like, I read the numbers, but there's a link underneath there. And they're like, I need you to click the link. I was like, all right, you fucking jerk. I didn't click the link because I'm not an idiot. I'm a little bit of an idiot because I did go that far into the whole entire scenario. But still, that's the biggest issue with the world, is you don't know who to trust, and there's so many people trying to suck the life out of everything that it makes it difficult. And especially when people see it's an opportunity. And overseas basketball, before, it's like you really needed an in, to get in. Now it's like with all these people, they're like, well, and this is what I talked, I was talking to Jevon about. I'm like, how are you supposed to know? How are you supposed to vet someone when they tell you that they can get you a job in, say there's someone like, hey, I can get you a job in, Lithuania. I got a contract for you in Lithuania. How do you know? Like, how are you supposed to know anything about that? You could just make up a country. Like, what are you vetting this person? What are you looking and being like, oh, Lithuania, okay. This team, like, you have no fucking idea. Even when my certified great agent was like, hey, there's a job for you in Sweden, I just trusted it was there. Things came and fizzled out, and that was with a real agent with a huge resume that I had. You still kind of had teams like in and out of interest for you. So having just making up stuff and being like holding on to that, continued payment, and being like, hey, this team's close. This team wants to sign you. This team will take you in fucking Burma. And you're like, oh shit, Burma. And you're fucking Googling it and stuff. But they don't really understand that that is the whole entire issue, is they're just trying to suck you in. They're trying to make you continue paying them just so they can, keep your money. And there's no fucking team in Burma. They don't even know what they're talking. Chances are there's some dude who's never even talked to a basketball agent, has no idea what they're doing. They're just making shit up as they go along. So, you have to be very cautious of who the scammers are, of who these people are. At the end of the episode, or during the episode, we're going to have actual, different links or not links, but like different scammer alert graphics that will show some of these different scammers that Jevon encountered and who they are, so you guys are aware. We're going to link it in the episode as well, so you guys are aware of like who the scammers are, because our business is trying to help overseas athletes. We're trying to build a voice for overseas athletes. We're trying to show what goes on over there, because it's the fucking, no one knows. Like, people, everyone's just like, oh, it's starting to get a little more mainstream. KD going over there and being like, seeing flares, and people were like dropping their fucking monocles out of their eye, like, oh my god, I can't believe these people have flares at a game. And you're like, they weren't throwing them on the court. I don't understand what the grief is about. Like, I don't understand what you're sad about it with them having flares. Like, they're not throwing them on the court, which is something that has happened to plenty of other athletes, including myself. Like, you're fine. Like, they're fucking in the stands. It's contained fire. So I think, overseas basketball is getting bigger, but people still don't know what's going on over there. They still don't have that idea of what the real structure is. They don't understand all the different nuances of it. So that is our job, to try to build that, to show people what goes on over there. And on top of that, we're trying to build, the athlete network. We're trying to build those athletes up and, not let them get caught up in that scamming world. So Jevon is a kind of a story that shows that you can kind of persevere and keep going. He's, worked out in the big three, had tryouts, started getting a lot of people knowing who he was, and now he's got some tryouts coming up to become a pro basketball player. But he takes you through the story where it's not easy. This shit's hard. It's difficult to play over there. It's difficult to get into this game. And, Jevon's story will take you through this. So, Jevon Smith, season 5. Is this season 5? I'm pretty sure. I'll double check that. But season 5, episode 3-ish, 4, 12, whatever, of the Overseas Famous Podcast. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Overseas Famous Podcast, here with Jevon Smith. Jevon played college basketball multiple places, now is trying to get his pro career started. So the cool thing is we're going to kind of take you into the mindset of an athlete who is getting into that pro experience, and the grind that he has to commit to, the things that he has to do, and the people who he can trust and who he can't trust, who are out there, because we talk a lot about scammers, and there's a lot of them. So Jevon, thanks for joining the show.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me, inviting me.
Of course, yeah. So first thing, you go through the process. You kind of were part of that COVID years, which we've talked about a lot in the show, how difficult that has been for an athlete to kind of go through that. You graduate. What was your first step when you got done college and you were looking to play pro ball?
My very first step was like to connect with an agent that was trustworthy, but the many scams out there, unfortunately, I was getting scammed by paying money out of my pocket to agents and no contracts, approval.
It's crazy how many agents there are out there and how difficult it was. So what was your vetting process when you went into this process to try to find an agent? Because I always talk, a lot of people I know are real big on trying to help people find the correct path without, going into these scammers, because they're everywhere and they're preying on, young athletes. What was your vetting process when you went in and were like, let's get going? Let's get this a good agent who's going to find me a job?
Well, I was self-motivated, and I just try to do everything on my own, just like try to reach out to people on like LinkedIn, Source, or social media in any type of way. And it just seemed like they were just setting me up for a scam, man. Man,
how did you know that? Like, what were there any tips, or was there any glaring things where you're like, holy shit, this doesn't seem right, this seems too good to be true, when you were going through this process?
Yeah, one time I was paying an agent for 6 months straight, and he said after that 6 months I'm gonna be guaranteed a contract, and he was showing me different teams that was interested in me in different countries like France and Spain and stuff like that. But it wasn't legit, man. He had his own little plot scheme.
That's crazy, because I've heard a
So
lot of these stories of
yeah.
these so-called agents coming up and being like, here, pay me, and we'll get this done. And it's crazy. A lot of people don't really realize that to play overseas basketball, there's a lot that goes into it, because we've all talked about it's the Wild West over there. So when you go in, you're like, getting me a job, let's get a job. And it's not like the NBA where you're like, okay, I can verify this on this source and this source. It's like, oh, there's a team in Kazakhstan who wants you, and you're like, how the fuck am I supposed to know the difference between that? What am I supposed to? I don't know anything about the country, so you have to kind of trust those people. And when the people aren't trustworthy, it's really difficult.
Yes, sir.
So you go in. How did you get into a situation where you're like, okay, this is a person? What was your next step after you kind of got into that scam situation? What were you thinking? What did you have to do to move forward from this situation?
Well, unfortunately, like people that was close to me stopped believing in me and stuff because they know I'm this big time basketball player and I shouldn't have paid agents to, sign me or whatever. But I didn't know that, after the college process and stuff. So I had relatives and friends stop believing in me, and I just kept believing in myself. Going into camps and stuff, I tried to get myself into camps. It was the same thing. It was like a whole scam. They wanted me to pay like $3,000 to go play in Armenia for camp and stuff. And unfortunately, I wanted my money back, and I paid the $3,000, and they didn't give me my money back. So the guy from the camp blocked me from Vegas, and it was just, man, it just sucks.
Yeah, I can't believe that. That's it's wild. And we'll throw some names up here. We'll get all that information so we can throw some stuff on here to kind of let people know who to look out for in that scamming. We'll talk after and kind of figure that out.
For sure.
Because we want to try to expose as many as we can. So
they'll get everybody.
Yeah, get them all. What brought you then after that Armenia? How did you get into a situation where you're kind of like, okay, I'm starting to move forward with the big three and getting a good tryout for a league of that magnitude?
I just started working with my degree. I had to make some source of income. Just giving everybody my income. With these scams. So I started helping out like autism kids. I was a registered behavior therapist for my city, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So I did that for like 3-4 months and got some checks back and invested into the big three with $500 and stuff and went far on for that.
Wow, that's crazy. First off, talk about what it says about you as a person to be going through these struggles and to be going through these mental things where you're like, this sucks, but being able to go back and give back to a wonderful community and have such a esteemed title and an esteemed thing where you can really help out the place that you were raised in. That's very, very admirable and a really cool quality to show that some people would just pack it in and be like, there's a lot of giving up, especially when you get caught on the other side of those scams, but you're just kept grinding. So that's really great to hear.
Yeah, the grind is real. I mean, if you really love something, you'll do anything in front to get in that position. So that's how I feel with basketball. I just, I know my story will be heard one day. So I know if I just, break my back for basketball right now, stay conditioned and stay in the gym and stay around reliable people to help me out, my time would be coming around. So I just stay inspired. And I was also a volunteer coach for a local high school team in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and just helping out freely and just, I need that help back. And so I know it'll come in my favor one day. So I stay patient and hopeful and push through perseverance.
Yeah. I mean, you give it, I'm a big believer if you give into this world that you get back. And you have to kind of give to get back. And I think overseas athletes definitely know that. And guys, so when you go into the big three, you go into the tryout, You get a really good look. What was that like in terms of being, that was that first time where you're like, okay, like this is a really good league. This is, top talent. These are huge guys who are stars in the NBA. How, when you were competing and being like, okay, I can hold my own, how was that in terms of boosting your confidence?
Man, it was like a big momentum. It's just like playing against like the biggest NBA players, Jamario Moon and Dewan Blair, for instance. It was like, and then me like pulling out my craft, being able to show them what I got and show them my athleticism, my shot, and my handle off the dribble. It just, man, it was just like remarkable because they said something about it. Like they gave me insight, like, man, keep going with this, and they followed me on social media, and man, we became friends in just like 6-7 months.
That's incredible. And
Yeah.
now, how are you able to leverage that, that networking? Because everything is about networking. A lot of it is who you know, especially with the overseas game. It's who you know. It's, what agent that you can trust that would take, take an initiative and help you out. So how did you leverage that and that network into, creating new opportunities for your professional career?
Like my guy Corsley Edwards, man, I just had to show him that trustworthy and just follow along the path, complete the test he gave me, call on time, call after and stuff, and let him know that I'm in a gym, and then show him videos of me working out and things like that. Man, that gained so much exposure, and he then was able to connect me with Mike Bibby or Jamario Moon or the Big Three or something like that. Like, of course, Lee Edwards, man, he showed that big heart of his, and really got the job done for me. Put me in a position, that I didn't think I'd be able to be without perseverance.
It is crazy because there's a lot of, even I've noticed it. And I played 10 years and I hadn't made a lot of good connections, but even with the new players, I noticed that you kind of reach out to them and they're like, nah, you're like, they don't even respond. And you're like, man, that's crazy. But guys like Course who have done so much, they're just like giving back and giving back and giving back and being like, how can I rise these athletes? How can I rise up what's these strong personalities and make them great? So shout out to Course because he's doing great things. He really is. He's got
yes,
it.
Sir.
He's got it down. So
yes, sir.
You're getting into that course with Loop Mogul and all these, having that platform, a platform where an athlete can really jump up and get exposure. How is that helpful when you look at things and you're like, okay, how can I get involved in this Loop Mogul? How can I boost my name and keep shining in this world of scammers and non-believers?
Yeah. Okay, can you repeat the question?
Oh yeah. So like, how does Loop Mogul create like a platform like Loop Mogul? How will that create a better opportunity for you, a player like you, to get exposure and to shine into the next level?
I guess like just stay like encouragement and well, a lot gotta be with self motivation. So I just wake up every day and just I pray and I exercise, get my heart rate pumping and do like 25 push-ups, just gotta stay self-motivated. I watch a lot of YouTube. I mean, I'm talking about a lot of YouTube, talk about 3-4 hours worth of like the old people and stuff like Kobe, Tim Hardaway, just watching structure.
Yeah.
So that's self-motivation right there, man.
Not that I'm knocking YouTube, but YouTube is crazy these days with the ads. I'm like, we'll hop on YouTube here and there, and it's like, I don't have the ad free because I don't watch it enough, but it's crazy how many ads. It's like, I can't get through like a 12-minute video without like 10 ads popping up. So YouTube is, I don't know. I'm not going to badmouth YouTube or make you badmouth YouTube. It was just an observation I'm throwing out there as I see YouTube kind of coming up with a, really pushing that free platform by, throwing a ton of ads at it. So the
I got one more thing to add too.
yeah, go ahead.
Got to do things unusual as well, to be in the greatest moments. I ride the bike to get around because I'm an athlete, but like for condition to get to the gym, the YMCA for instance, or even to work with the kids. So I really and I run hills and like to run the sand and stuff. So I do a lot of unusual work to be a beast mode, man, and stay in condition and stay in shape.
A lot of people don't really realize that how much effort it takes to be a professional athlete and what you have to commit to. But on top of that, when you're not playing or where you're trying to chase that dream or where you don't currently have that contract, it's not only are you working the effort of a professional athlete, you're also working a secondary job. And people don't realize that because you got to be ready to go, especially when you get the call from a team overseas. It's like if you show up and you're not in top physical shape that first week, it's like, all right, we'll send you home and find someone. It's just crazy. It's so cutthroat. So how do you maintain that effort as an athlete, as well as the effort, to keep keeping money in your pocket while you're chasing this dream?
Right. My life always been through like some adversity. When I was 17, I left my hometown to go chase my dreams and play at prep school basketball, and just like the push and stuff from the coaches. They had us run and like condition like 3-4 o'clock in the morning. That was kind of different because no high school kid really doing that, but I had to lead a state in order to get better in those ways. So it helped push me to a different level and do stuff by myself, like run the stairs on one leg and just be more athletic.
That's great. I just it
Yeah,
is like I said, it's very admirable to kind of see how much adversity when you, and people don't really think about that. Like when you almost are groomed to be a basketball player and you have that pedigree, there's a lot of young
yeah,
moments where you're just shipped off and you have to go somewhere where you're not really comfortable with, and the normal person doesn't
mm-hmm.
really understand that lifestyle where everything's you're living one way and then it's just constantly changing. You can't even get used to things. So
Yeah.
it's definitely tough, but it definitely prepared you for this particular moment.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to balance out like work and being an athlete, but man, if you want something, you gotta manage it, man. You gotta keep the balance.
100%. So
Yeah.
so you right now, your next step, you've gone through all this, you went through the big three, you've grown that network. What is your next step to trying to achieve that dream, to try to keep going with that contract, chasing that contract?
Um, well, yeah, I invested in myself. I'm just waiting to hear back from different opportunities and get with my man Corsley Edwards to see when the training camp is. I'm really much prepared for that, man. Just I'm ready to be in that position, help out the team, and be a big problem.
I love that. And there's so
in the
many.
basketball world.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's all.
So in this competitive market, people
Mm-hmm.
talk about gap years and things like that. How do you go in because the biggest thing is probably everything that you're going to have to do now is going to be into a camp or a tryout or something like that. What is
Yeah.
your mindset when you go into something like that? Because there's no guarantee. So when you walk into a new situation and that you're going to have to take a week or so to really show them and prove to them what you have, what do you say to someone who's willing to take that chance on you?
Ooh, man, I'm just have to show them my body type and man, just go all out and overlap people if I have to, like sprints or just go up and above for the sport and just like take knowledge of it as well, ask questions and make sure I get the X's and O's down packed on the play so I could be the best teammate for my teammates.
I think that's something that, like you said, you just hit on something that really does, no one really thinks about, is not only you have to be in physical shape, not only do you have to be the best, not only do you have to be the guy who's going to score and rebound every shot,
Yeah.
but you also have to learn a completely new offense, and you have to get it down
Yes.
real quick. I always think about, like, even high school, you had like a week or two to kind of be like, all right, where am I going? But you can't have that glitch. Like, you got to go home. It's like studying a playbook for football. You get that playbook, but we don't get a playbook. They just run it through a few
Right.
times. I remember going home, drawing plays up and being like, all right, where do I go? Where do I go? Because you're sitting over there, you have tons of time. But that's such
Right.
a crazy thing to think. Like, you got to know that play. You not got to know this. It's just so much information that's put on you real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And
As well as
it's
being yeah, as well as like tying your skills with the plays and stuff. So
yep,
it's a lot.
it is. So you have upcoming workouts, upcoming camps and things like that where you're trying to prove, uh again, when you go into these situations, especially having, that underdog mentality, is that something that you really relish, that underdog mentality? You walk in, you're like, listen, you've been there, I haven't yet. Guess what? I'm still gonna kick your ass.
Yeah, yeah. I bring that momentum on my shoulder, and like I feel like I'm the best in the house when I'm there. So I bring I feel like I'm the underdog, but I feel like I'm the top dog as well. Yeah,
I'm
but I
I'm
keep
the,
my attitude. I keep my attitude all nice and stuff, but I turn to a whole monster when I'm playing. So
that's it's such a crazy, I always compare us to like the Incredible Hulk. Like, you got to be the nicest guy, you got to be cordial and kind off the court. When you step on that court,
right.
it's like the Incredible Hulk's got to come out, and you got to be willing to like rip people apart. And people are just
Yep.
like, even people I talk to now, they're like, well, you're nice and stuff. I was like, yeah, but when I was playing, I just was able to snap it on and snap it off. This like crazy person came out, and I was like, wow. And I look back at videos like, wow, was it like a nut job? But sometimes you kind of have to have that split personality. It's like you're almost groomed to have a split personality, which could be dangerous in the long run with all this like crazy people. But
Yeah.
I think we can control it and manage it.
Mm-hmm.
So
True.
the first off, I love the bike riding too. I'm like a big proprietor of riding my bike. I love it.
Yes, sir.
It's like my favorite thing. So just hopping out and riding your bike, getting around. It's like there's nothing better. And like you said, when you're an athlete, it's like a little extra cardio just to kind of get from place to place. It makes it easier. It's also you're kind of working while you're getting from spot to spot. And I remember I
Yeah.
I asked for a bike one year. I was in
Mm.
Poland and I was like, "Can I have a bike?" Because I had a driver and he was just weird. I was like, "I can just ride a bike over," and they were just like, "No." There was like too many legal things they were worried about. But I would ride a bike
Right.
all day. I love it.
Yeah, cause like the little stuff don't matter to me right now. Like me, like traveling on the bike, for instance, like that, because I know like in the bigger picture, you know, I just love the condition, man. I just think about the bigger picture.
Well, Jevon, it's been awesome. Like you said, you're trying to get your story out. You're trying to get your information out. We're
Yeah,
gonna
man.
I'll talk to We're gonna get those scammers and we're gonna kind of expose them, because little by little, I think everyone who can kind of see that these people are not on the up and up and just trying to make money off people. I think it's a travesty. But Jevon, your ability to kind of push through those difficult things and keep getting better and not letting it affect you is great. And we wish you best of luck.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on the show, man.
Of course. Thank you, Jevon.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.